Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, this is the second video this week. I'm kind of excited that I have a couple videos to share with you. First of all, let me apologize for this video because for some stupid reason, this video would not open and allow me to rotate it without it being super fuzzy. So kind of weird. I'm not sure what happened, but it's just a little bit kind of distorted. So sorry if that causes you some viewing pleasure, but hopefully you'll stick with me. This is a project I made for JustNick for today. We're doing like a pinspiration type thing on the blog this week, so I thought I would play along. I found this really cool Pinterest image. You can check it all out on our blog, and I wanted to use that for my page, obviously. And so what I did is in my Pinterest image, there is a picture of a bunch of pumpkins, actually. They're all different kind of colors. They're non-traditional Halloween pumpkin colors. So they're kind of like coral and yellow and pink kind of colors in an ombre kind of design. And they're all kind of lined up in a table setting on one side of the table. So I decided I would do that same kind of idea, but instead of using pumpkins for obvious reasons, I'm going to use circles. And so I have, you can see there on the right hand side of my screen here, I have cut out the circle background 3 from the JustNick cut file store, and I've trimmed it down quite a bit. Like, it's not the whole cut file, it's probably like half maybe, or a third of it, and I've cut that on a white cardstock, and I'm adding just a little border here around my page from some strips of black cardstock, or black pattern paper, actually, not cardstock. And there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here other than each of the strips of paper is 1/4 of an inch thick, and I'm just creating like a bit of a border around my page, and I'm just totally randomly adding those strips through. And you're going to see here, I'm going to cut this down a little bit more. I want to sew down through that border just for fun. But instead I decided to start off by filling in my cut file here with pattern paper. So at first I thought I would do a bunch of different pattern paper to fill in those circle areas, but I ended up only going with 2 different patterns. This stuff here I'm using is from We Are Memory Keepers, and I want to say it's Wild at Heart is the name of the collection. I kind of toy around, as you'll see, with different pattern paper, deciding if I want to bring it in or not, but I end up just sticking with a whole bunch of this really kind of pretty golden yellow color. Yellow is kind of a funny color for a lot of people to scrapbook with, but I think if you find the right yellow that you love, it's kind of easy to just use it. It's kind of like a mustard. Mustard's kind of like really popular in clothing right now, so I really like that mustardy color. And so I'm using that along with this kind of pink on pink cross sign, X sign pattern. So I'm using that for the bottom, and I'm just, there's no, easy way of doing it, or no hard way of doing it, I should say, other than just using your punches and filling it in. In this case, I'm filling in all the circles. Sometimes I leave some of them open, but I decided in this case I would do the whole thing. So I'm using like a glue runner adhesive, and I'm just adding that to the back of the white cardstock, and then I'm just going to add more and more paper and just finish off. I really thought at this point of the layout that I would use this kind of red dotted paper by Pink Paisley, and holy geez, this looks super blurry. I'm so sorry. But I ended up going with just the 2 colors, even though I really wanted to use more than just the 2 colors, but I guess the black is kind of my 3rd color. I have this like unspoken rule, I think, for myself, that I won't ever use just like 2 colors on a scrapbook page. It always has to be more than that. So choose generally like 3 or 5, that kind of thing, but never 2. I don't know why. Just seems like an odd kind of number, even though it's even. Visually, it's kind of like nicer to have like a triangle with 3 colors. So I am going to, now that this is filled in, kind of tuck this around my border strips, and I'm going to tuck it under. And then I decided, nope, I don't want to do that. I actually am just going to line it up with the border and then trim it out a little bit. I missed one here, so I got to fill that in. And then trim it out just so, at the bottom, so I have like that yellow to pink thing going on. and it's just going to trim it down. So I decided to go ahead and sew my border like I had intended 5 minutes before this. And so I just decided just to stitch it down with my little Janome at home machine, which I have to say, I'm still using it and no issues so far. It's working quite nicely for me. I guess my only issue is my thread keeps breaking, but I think that's just the cheap thread that I'm using and not so much the machine. So that's my public service announcement for this video. So you can see I'm just kind of adhering this down and lining it up with the strip and trimming off any little extra bits as I see them. So that's kind of where the inspiration part of the page went. And now I'm going to add just some mist. So I'm going to do a little bit of pink where the pink is, and I believe I add a little bit of yellow. There it is, where the yellow is, just to kind of dust the white cardstock. So it's not quite so white. And that stuff dries pretty quick, so I'm not super worried about that. And then I've decided I want to matte my photo a little bit. So I'm just going to, I popped out of it, but that's okay. I'm going to leave this on there. And then I'm going to just add that onto my floral paper, which is on the back side of the yellow. And actually that brings in another color onto my page. So now I'm up to 4. So now I'm stressed out a little bit now that I think about this, that I only have 4 colors. That's another even number. Did I do 5? Let's find out, right? So I added a little clip there. That's a Heidi Swap clip. I think that's from the Magnolia Jean collection. Super pretty collection. I love those kind of like clips. They're easy to like fill in a corner of a photo or a corner of like a journaling card and kind of layer things together just with that clip. This one's nice because it's see-through, so that's kind of something different. Usually they're kind of filled in, so that's kind of a nice one. So I'm just spelling out the word trouble here, and these I think are Chamel chipboard letter stickers. I really love how they're kind of like filled in on one side and then polka dotty on the bottom. It's kind of fun. I like those. And I also love these Chamel foam thickers. I love foam thickers. They are my favorite, I have to say, because they stick the best. A lot of the chipboard ones, like those ones I have here, quite certain I'll have to go back and add some adhesive behind them because they never seem to stick as sticky as I'd like them to. And now there's a super huge glare in this blurry video that you're watching, but I'm pulling out some more Chamel stuff. This stuff is either from the Go Now Go collection and this stuff, or the Little by Little. I have like a bit of a mixture of both that I'm using here on this page, along with the We Are Memory Keepers paper. And I kind of toy with what to do with my title, if I should leave it like that. And I end up deciding just to leave the hello. I think I was going to write like Here Comes Trouble with those clear letter stickers, but I changed my mind. I kind of like that bigger hello, and the black kind of coordinates with the black around the edge. So I don't know why I took those stars off. The stars look kind of good there. I think because I'm thinking I would fussy cut a bunch of flowers, that the stars don't really go with flowers. It's kind of like an opposite, if you ask me. So I'm just off camera. You probably can't see, but I'm fussy cutting a bunch of flowers. So these are, again, from that, is it Wild at Heart or is it Crush? I can't remember, but it's from We Are Memory Keepers. It's kind of like a really fun, kind of hip, modern kind of collection. And I'm fussy cutting a bunch of flowers to use on the right-hand side of my photo. You can't see it at all, what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it off camera, but I'm cutting little bits of these flowers. So I'm not really necessarily cutting large flowers because I don't really want huge chunk of flowers along the side. I want to use some of the yellow and some of the pink in those two areas. You can see the yellow and then the pink. Excuse me, my nose just got itchy. So I'm just kind of cutting half bits of flowers, and then I'm tucking them underneath my photo with some adhesive and just layering them out a little bit, cutting some of those little leaves there too, just to kind of fill that in. And having it overlap the cut file kind of joins the two things together. So it's like a quick little easy layer. And then I decided that's kind of not enough stuff. I'm going to add some black droplets of mist here, just to add a little, funkiness to it. I still like that black dots. I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of that stuff. I'm telling you, it's going to be soon. Cannot find Tattered Angels Glimmerleys anywhere. Anyway, I'm adding in some of these wood buttons. These are from Chamel, the Go Now Go collection, and I love the wood buttons. I'm addicted to those things. And then I decided to add some more of that gold, but again, this time it's glitter. And I'm going to add a heart and a few little bits in around my photo area. And what else am I going to add? I think I'm going to end up cutting a few more flowers from a different collection. I'm going to add a sticker underneath. I'm leaving really everything to all the photo area stuff to the left-hand side because that's kind of busy with all those circles and the patterns there on the right. So I'm just kind of fiddling with some stickers here underneath my photo. Yeah, kind of just finish that area off. And then I know I'm going to end up taking this Dear Lizzie paper, which is so pretty. If you haven't seen this yet, it's kind of addictive. Like, it's like supposed to be like a coloring page sheet that you could scrapbook with. Really pretty flowers on it too. And I love all the hand-drawn kind of fern-like leaves that are on this paper. And I have used this paper a few times. You can see I've got quite a few cut out there, but I actually haven't colored it one darn time, if you can believe that. I kind of like the black and white on its own. Is that wrong? I have no idea, but I'm sure it looks really great watercolored, or even if you have Copics and you're good with Copics, I bet you that paper would look really great, all Copic pretty. But I'm just fussy cutting out all the leaves. You can totally not see what I'm doing right now because my hands are off camera for some weird reason. But I'm adding a little bit of glue. I've cut out one of those stems just to kind of bring it out a little bit more. And then I'm using wet adhesive, which I don't use a lot of wet adhesive, but it's for little bits like this, tiny little things where you want to add a little adhesive to the end. I'm doing that. So I'm cutting out the fern-like stems, and then just kind of to make it a little bit larger around my flower grouping, I'm adding in those flowery stems. And my kind of rule of thumb with fussy cutting, I've said it before, I think, but is that I like to cut around the edge and leave a little bit of a border, because when you get die cuts, there's always like a border around them. So I figure if I cut a border too, then it looks like I bought them like that. So, and it's a good way to stretch your supplies, right? So there you go. I have a couple little flowers in there. I'm just going to wet glue those kind of where I want them. And the good thing with the paper is it's, pretty movable, because with a little wet glue you can move it quite nicely. And then I decide to move those again because the glue wasn't quite stuck. I'm going to trim that one down a little bit just to make it fit a little bit prettier. It was kind of a little too clumpy before, and I wanted to stretch it out, this kind of cluster above and beyond the photo. So I'm going to grab that glue again and kind of just tuck that in. So it's not quite as poofed out, if that's the right word, than it was. So I think that looks a little bit better now. It's really hard to see. You'll be able to see in the close-ups of the photo. And then I'm going to add a few little stamps here. I love these roller date stamps, even if it's not just the date. If you use some of the little tiny sentiments on there, those are really cool. And then, of course, I have to pull out my hoarding stash of enamel dots. I literally have way too many. I have so many. The good news is, though, is that I'm kind of surprised, but they're sticking still to those clear adhesive sheets. They're not even adhesive, but they're like clear backing sheets that are in the pack. I'm kind of surprised that they're still sticking to that. I thought some of them I've had a little while now, and I thought, maybe some of them would lose their tackiness, but they're pretty good. I'm kind of a little bit shocked at that, but I'm sure it's not a big deal. Even if they fell off, I would just use a micro glue dot or something to stick them in place. So it's certainly not the end of the world. And then I decided to grab, this is like a container of Doodlebug sequins. It's the Beetle Black is their black color, and it's kind of a good mixture of black with a silver and like a pewter kind of color. And so I'm just going to scatter those around with using glue dots to stick those down. And I'm going to scatter that in and around my floral grouping as well as my title, just to kind of finish everything off nice and pretty. And there we go. There you have the finished project. So really, really simple, especially with using circles and circle punches. You can fill in a circle background really quite easily. And yeah, that's it for my Pinterest project. I hope you like it. It turned out pretty good. I kind of like it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.